Yeah, I can't wait to go to Bludia for a great alliance against those Brits.
My. We are not going to Bludia.
What do you mean by that, Cree?
The reason why we are on this boat is to get rid of you. Listy wanted you to stay and watch this empire grow, especially since that unification between Norway, but my boss said if he can't be a part of this he will lose my job and my house too.
Voa, come on, I'll make you second in command, please don't do this.
I'm sorry, the chief told me to get rid of you for your genocides of many British citizens in Amsterdam. Now get off the boat or my men will force you.
Fine then, where are we going anyway, you Belgians?
We're heading to a nation called Biesland.
Bea, Estella and Day. We're the home of jackhammer people. And Jimmy Donaldson. They are the worst country ever. I refuse to leave.
Alright, you are acting like a brat. Men throw her overboard.
Great, now in the worst city ever. Please sir. I need a job, please, in kinda homeless.
Oh, hello, I'm Alexander, and yes, I'll give you a job and a home.
If you don't know what that was a clip from the year 321 to show what happened to Mama after she was fired from the league. So today, we're going to go to Doodle Empires, and we're going to head to the new game. Well, we're heading to year 400, and we're going to continue to year 500. How do I get it? Alright. Yeah. Today we're just going to stream this, and then we're going to see what happened last time. Last time we just saw Africa get expanded. We saw Europe kind of stay the same technically, but kind of similar. So this, but other than that, nothing changed. We see Peru become even bigger than they were meant to be. We see Argentina fall to civil war. The Falklands just separate and come back again. And then we see the split between Crablandia and Crabatine. Because there's nothing like Crabtania. Now, let's get to the next term. And it's Argentina. They're going to fall into another civil war. This time, due to the popular movement of the socialists in California, they're like, yeah, let's try that too. So yeah, they split like this. Will this become the first nation to fail it? Or will they actually succeed? Let me know in the comments. The Socialist Republic of Argentina. Yeah, they're going to come from the rivers right here. In fact, it's going to be from most of the Salmon territory. And then it's just chaos and beyond. Yeah, Argentina is more good than any country ever. But luckily, we are leaving the age of division. So You might get lucky. Next up, Canada. What's going to happen to them? They get a new leader and end the age of division called Odie. It is a tone and flat. Canada again. They're going to build a castle. And they're going to call this. So where do they? So yeah. They build a fort right here. Called Fort Maple. Jimmytown. Yeah, if you don't, and also, you recognize this one, right? But yeah, there's the Doodle dynasty. There's some Fedor dynasties still rich. But anyways, there's a lot. They make us sport because this rebellion, right? Beastland rebellion, right here. And Alexander following suit of this. And Jimmy was like, "Yo, can you help?" No. And then the United Union probably will help him because they might. We don't know if they did fight, but all we know is Beastland is trying to take over the country. Now let's see Rome. Yeah, they get a small split. Yeah, we need to make a story for this of how they split. Now, their split happens after let's just say formal nation just gained independence called the Byzantines. It doesn't become bigger than our timelines. Our timelines Byzantine Empire, but it does become a good successor to it. No wait. Is it more powerful than the original Byzantine Empire? Yep. So the Byzantines, yeah, they are now. They're now here, and it's run by the Belgian. Rome is now lost Greece. But let's see how long this lasts. The European Union. They get medium expand. I think they're going to take advantage of Rome's weakness and start taking over all these Greek lands. And then just take over a lot of what is used to be called Rome. So yeah. And they also took Corsica and Sardinia. And they may even take Sicily, but let's see how much they got. Yeah, they got Sicily. Yeah, this. But then they decided they keep continuing on to stomp any rebellions. And they cut the Romans in two, which will cause more chaos than good. And then, just like that, the Romans are now split in two. Right here in the Balkans. Now, the Elf Nation, what's going to happen to it? They're going to adopt a religion. So they're going to try to adopt Hinduism. which they do successfully. Yeah, Canada's becoming more and more united recently. But now, we got Brazil. And they get a small split. Now, I think they're going... We probably know where the split will most likely happen. It's going to be in a city called the Fortnite Republic. Or the FNR. They'll be like, yeah, which one do we go? And I think it'll be right here. The Fortnite Republic probably take a stand right here. Now, they come through these rivers and then manage to form a new nation. Yeah, this is already gone pretty good for them. So now Brazil is split in two now, which I think we'll talk about that one day. But now let's see who's next. Oh, Crabland. Let's hope. Alright, they get medium expand. Now, I think they're going, what do we do? Where do they expand? Because now this is the age of chaos. And I think we're going to see some things happen. We're going to see them try and take it. These were like, yeah, we see Mexico. Let's just do some troll force. They start taking over Mexico City, which was their capital. And then they were like, yeah, we're trying to get rid of it again. Yeah, they took over Mexico City. They managed to cross through the river. And then they're now kind of strong again. Because now there's no power that can try to take it down. Yeah, they're like, instead of letting unite with them, let's just take some Mexican land. Which was originally theirs, so yeah, it makes sense. The Falkland Kingdoms. They get small expand. Now I think taking advantage of their problems, they decided, yeah, let's take advantage of this. So yeah, they take some ports from right here so that they can try to do whatever they like. It was the return. They're trying to return back to a regular empire that once existed a long while back. Even took some enclaves right here and going into one of them. Now, this is what the Falkland now. They turned the Argentine War even worse than it usually is. Because here's what we got. We got Argentina. We got the Socialist Republic of Argentina. We got Argentine Republic. We got the Argentine Caliphate. And now we got the Falklands invading those Civil War parts. They're like, yeah, we're going to do it ourselves. And they're going to try and take over this whole thing for themselves. But at least the Falklands is great again, in a way. Now Quebec. they're going to adopt a religion. And I think we know what this religion is. They're going to return. We're going to either see the return of Hinduism or we're going to see a return of Buddhism. Because there are three religions with that. Christianism, which could be needed right here, but they're like, yeah, it doesn't match our deals. There's this one they're honestly not going to take because that's their religion. So if you try to adapt it, yeah, you're going to be in trouble. We got Hinduism, which is the goal for Nine Canada, and then Buddhism. Buddhism is a peaceful religion, and they would like to have that. So they adopted that. In order to make sure that they're their own identity, they just decided to unite together. Well, not unite, but more like just adopted their religion. So now, let's move on. The Falkland Kingdom is back, and they get a small expansion. Yeah, I think they're trying to take over as much as possible. Yeah, they're trying to take over much of this. The Falklands right now has a renaissance right now. Yeah, this is going to be epic. Yeah, they are managed to win. They're good. Yeah, and even push up more of these rivers right here as a way to capture their city right here. To make sure trade goes good, so that between the Portuguese and the Falklands, since it is still a pretty good area. And now Argentina is kind of in disarray. But now we got the Mushroom Kingdom. They get a new leader, and their name is Peach. Since they're tunneling in a flat line. So yeah, now we got. Now the FNR. Alright, let me fix this real quick. Heading back. The North Pole gets a medium expand. They're gonna be like, yeah, we don't like. Yeah, we're gonna take over as much of you as possible. So yeah, the Elf Nation is immediately falling. Now we got Rome. They're going to adopt a religion, and once again, it's going to be clearly. Even though Rome is starting to fall. Now, California, what do they do? Small expand. I think they're going to try to take advantage of this rebel group, and so they're just going to take some of these lands and even try to take a city and success it. And then they push north into the capital, showing that they did not win the city. They're far from winning. Yeah, and saying that this war is not over until all of California is reunited. Which now concerns the socialists, because they just funded a rebellion that probably destroyed most of their budget. So now they gotta deal with the primes, which is the shrinking of their socialist link. Now the Mexican Federation, they're gonna build a town They're going to call it Mexican or Mexico Tower 2, Mexico Tower 3. Because they're now split into thanks to Crabland. Now the North Pole. They're going to build a castle as well. It'll be called Fort Santa. Yeah, this is probably based on the city of the Elf Nation, but we'll see. Brazil gets a medium expand. I think they're like, yeah, we don't expect yet. We're gonna take back our city. We're gonna come back here. And also take some of these lands. And then, as they're about to expand more, yeah, this is now starting to fail. The Fortnite Republic is starting to get crushed. But now, the SROA, they're going to build a castle, which for them, since the Falklands are probably going to invade. So yeah, they're calling this Fort Messi. Yeah, I'll name after some soccer guys, but or football for you, but to not offend anyone. But we're gonna make sure. Let me just fix. There we go. Alright. Now we got Argentina is split. But now we got the North Pole again. They get a small expand. Yeah, they made a deal with the Peach Kingdom and Mushroom Kingdom and managed to successfully get some of these islands disputed successfully. And now we see that this is now the new nation. The Beastland Rebellion. They're going to build another castle. And guess what? Jimmy Tower 5. But why did why did this rebellion make a new tower? We don't. In 421, people were like, yeah, we're done with the towers. We're done with the forts. And now they're starting to become some more. They're starting to become more Renaissance. Not yet, because this was still there. There's going to be still splits. And then, because their splits are now just as common as the expansions. The Fedor Dynasty, they get a large expand. Yeah, they're gonna be like, yeah, let's get some new control these river trees. So yeah, they control the rivers. They took some land from them, and then just go ahead and took a major city, and then managed to get more to the coast right here. Now for the next nation, Grand Crablandia. They're going to get a small expand. I think taking advantage of the situation inside here, they're going to take a part of Beastland Rebellion, which was not theirs, but they managed to successfully took it down. And also, they managed to get the Rio Grande back from the Travertines, of course. And so, in a way, they managed to win. They're starting to get a renaissance here. Now, this is probably more bigger than it is. Now, let's get back to the feudal dynasty. They start the age of conflict. So now, we got the Byzantines. They split. Into a civil war. Immediately, we see Anatolia revolt. We could call this Greece then. Which part do they lose? I think we'll do Anatolia. The Anatolians, they're like, we are done. We want to become our own nation. So in order to do that, we're leaving y'all. So, we're leaving. We're also taking Crete as well, making it our city. And then, just that do it. Anyways, we're taking this, and you're not going to do it. So the Byzantines are now turned to Greece. So now we ripped the Byzantines in 425. The FNR gets a medium expand. They were going to be some trolls and try to take advantage of the situation and take over Serene and French Guiana. They managed to get through right here and then take over some of these lands right here and then manage to form this nation right here. So French, the Guianos are now big now. Next up, Morta Chico. They're going to adopt religion. And they're just going to adapt themselves. No big express. So peace leader. Now California gets a small expand. They continued their grudges and then reached their old capital, San Andreas. And then they celebrated a party returning back to their old city that was once theirs and is now destroyed. And even took some of the Mexican coast right here so that they can stage operations and to re-liberate the rest of California. Now, next one, the Feudal Dynasty. They get expansion. They're even. They continue the route right here and is now reaching to right here. But then something happens. They're like, yo, we want to be in peace. Can we just have the peace back? And they're like, no, you're just going to get until we want. Get some land until we're tired. So they just did, and the Byzantines are back they're going to get a medium expand. I think the Byzantines are like, yeah, we need to take advantage of the Roman situation. And they decided to take over all these lands right here. They're going to take some of these rivers. Yeah, for Romans is not their day. It is not their day. Yeah, they did took some of the French lands right here, but they didn't recognize it in northern. Well, they took European land, and they don't care. They also managed to take over a few islands, take back Crete, unite back to here, and form. It is about to manage to successfully take down Anatolia and put them back in their place. And almost, if I can get to it, they almost defeat and they managed to defeat the Anatolians, successfully reuniting the Byzantine Empire once again. So yeah, we managed to split the Byzantines, then a full-on renaissance of it. So yeah, the Byzantines are big now. So we got a big power now in Europe. Next up, we're headed to the Union of the Caribbean. And is it surprising? Yeah, there has now been some of the Bahamians wanted to flee, and they fled to Mexico and then tried to hijack it. Didn't work. And to there, didn't work. But when they head to here, this is now pretty much like this. There's been a secret rebellion. Yeah, a secret rebellion for a long time, which now starts the Caribbean Civil War. It was formed along these islands right here, which believe that they should be their own identities, and that if Caribbean needs them, then they should go to their aid. So yeah, there's some guerrilla warfare right here, some smaller ones right here. Yeah, this is going to need a lot of research to do. They even took a fort right here. Yeah, and now Colombia is going to take it all. Although they don't take the city, just for reasons that they believe they should stay. But now we reach to the European Union, and they get a medium expand. And guess where they expand to? You guessed it, Rome. They also now continue taking over much of Egypt, which probably didn't accept them. So yeah, they're kind of forming a Roman Empire-like nation. Now we get to the United Union, where it just largely expands. So let's make a story. The Dutch were like, yeah, she is still alive. We need her gone. We need your help to get rid of her. So yeah, the Europes were like, yo, can we give you how much money you want? And they were like, You no need. Just let me keep the land. Ah, we will. But now their goal is to try to take out this whole nation right here and make sure that they need to make a great state. So yeah, Beastland, hope you like being an island again. And now, they managed to find Mama in one of the towers. And then they're like, yeah, we need to capture and take her back to Europe. That was the original plan. Just take her back to Europe. But what happened is when they were trying to put her in cell, they got different plans now. They got different plans. And they're like, yo, we do got luck, but we're not going to give you her back. And Europe's like, Dutch, they're not going to want what do we do? So they just were like, yeah. Yeah, we now saw DC get completely nuked, well, bombed off. This time it was burning, but they burned the White House, except not the White House. In fact, it was a whole Capitol, which now kind of upset them, and for that, they think it was the Europeans. They were like, yo, we didn't do anything. It was the Dutch. Don't get upset, please. So, yeah, they were going to try to be like, next time, I'm not going to give any prisoners back. So, yeah, Cutter will rebuild DC, so Cutter DC is restored back to its rightful place. Cutter DC. Now, we got the next one. Where should we go next? The FNR. They're going to spread a religion. They're Crablandians. And then they're going to try to spread Latinism in here, which is successful in doing so. So now we got, if his rebellion wins, then Wavism is probably dead in the original. Now, the next nation, the Mexican Confederation. They get a small expand. So taking advantage, well, not that, but they're going to take over some of this right here and then just stop. Because they can't expand up here, otherwise they're fighting a big power. And they're fighting right here. So yeah, they just stop. Now, next up, the Gravitines. They do medium expand. Now, they could take advantage of crowns, but they're not. They're going to try and take over Mexico. Take advantage of Mexico. They took a major city right here, crossed through a river, and even managed to nearly wipe out all of Mexico. And then they just split the communists into, took over these islands, and just like that, Mexico is gone again. And this also upset the South Republic, since they were trying to gain all of California back, but now they probably saved the Socialist Republic of California, but now they divide California in two. Now, FNR, what's going to happen? They build a castle. It's called Fort of Knights Fort. Fort Knights Tower. Four of Knights. Since there's four, Quebec is here, and they get a large expand. So yeah, they ultimately want to try to reunite Quebec back, but they are successful. And then managed to get all this lands back here. You would take some greens. And then this is just like that. And they managed to get a lot done. Even take over this island right here too. Take this island right here. And then just stop for a while. So yeah, this is Quebec now. Yeah, Canada's even going. So yeah, now, next up, the Byzantines are back. And they're going to adopt a religion, which is right here. So you now, the Mushroom Kingdom, what's going to happen to them? They get a small expand. I think they're going to buy more lands from the Blue Landians. Now, how do they have the money to buy it? Well, we will try to explain that later. Maybe at 450. Now, California is back. And they're going to unionize. And it's going to be with the Socialist Republic, which finally ends that long dreaded war. Oh yeah, Mexico's in Hawaii. Forgot about that. Hopefully you like coconuts. And also volcano students, so yeah. Now, the next nation, Central America. What's going to happen to them? They start the Age of Conflict. Of course they do. Now the Angolan Empire, they get a medium expand. So yeah, taking advantage right here, they took back some of these lanes. Managed to gain all this right here. And even taking more of South America too. So yeah, that's what. More cheek at what happens to them. We finally see a split happening. So yeah, let's call this. So after a while, yeah, they see, let's just say it's going to be an independence movement right here, which goes there successful, calling it the South Brazil. Brazilian state. We'll call it Sao Paulo. This nation was formed during the rivers right here and is still formed. Like that. And then head up here. Then manage to go south of the river, but they don't dare to try and cross it to make sure the crew doesn't be upset. Could this be the start of the fall of the more chickens? We don't know yet. So yeah, this is now the whole nation right here. We got a whole new nation. Now we head to the Platanian Empire, where they build a castle. And they're going to build a chum tower. So where do they put it? Easily Quebec. They call this Chum Tower 2. So yeah. We managed to get towers ready. Now, heading down south to Central America. They managed to get a great expand. Yet its goals are to take out Mexico once and for all. And unite the whole. Yeah, to unite the whole thing. Its great expanse goes very well. And even managed to get him right here, although it's not enough. It was still very big. Now, the next one is Beastland, and they need a small expand. So yeah, they took some of the islands right here, and then decided they want back New Jersey and Jimmy Tower back. So yeah, now that's it. Norway's next, and they get a medium expand. While it's stored here, they manage to find more of these lands, and they managed to explore all the way, and they found Estonia, Finland, and then managed to even cross through Lithuania and reach to St. Petersburg, into Finland right here. And now, this is Norway right now. They could rival the European Union soon, but they're never going to be involved. Now, Norway is back, and they get a large expand. Yeah, they're going to take advantage and manage to get off this right here. Gaining a rule of these lands right here, and then follow the rivers down south. This is probably the biggest I've seen of Norway right now. They could be bigger, but for now, they managed to reach all the way to Poland right here, next to the south of this river, and then reach here, head down south, make more of what this is. Now, then they are also now crossing this river right here, created like this Nordic empire. And I feel like they could create a Russian empire already. But right now, let's see. The Byzantines return. And they split. Again. But this time, it's going to be like a... Yeah, who and what happened. Now, easily, there becomes the now the split happens in Yugoslavia. They're like, yeah, we need a new, let's make a puppet state right here called Serbia. It managed to form right up here near the rivers. Yeah, this goal here is to just get some more land right here. Make sure that they stay in check. They would have their city right here. Now, let's reach to the next one. Tanzania. They get a new leader, Kamikani, and their mountain explorer. Now, the Union of the Caribbean. They're going to get a small expand. They're going to take over some of these lands right here, reaching out to the coast right here, and then manage to go down and try to split this in two. But now, Beastland is back, and they get a large expansion. Next up, they're going to take over these three lanes. They're going to take over these right here. Now, they managed to get right here. And then, they managed to go through the Union. Yeah, they managed to gain a rebirth. But when they were trying, Jimmy Donaldson reproved himself by taking over back all these lands right here. They managed to cross through this river and has managed to decide, yeah, this is a good empire now. And we would want that Beastland. But the Union is not going to let them have Beastland back. No matter how good it is, they're not going to try to do that. Since they need it to cross over to themselves. But this is now starting to look they're unlike. Now that they got their capital. So yeah, they're crossing through here and then manage to go right here in an attempt to retake Beastland, which they successfully do. And now it managed to reform back to the true Beastland. So yeah, they were doing so good until they reach here. And they managed to successfully retake Beastland, which I feel like will become the new capital right now. But now this problem will make the United Union, especially in the South, very angry. People don't like it. And even the leader is trying to flee. But no. The feudal dynasty, of course they do. It feels like they're hacking right now. They managed to expand through this river right here. They just started right here. And then managed to cross through this river. You got the Mushroom Kingdom, build a castle, and then managed to make the Mushroom Fort 1. Its goal is to try to stay safe from the Planktanian Empire in case they strike again. The Fedor Dynasty again. And of course they do. Someone stop this person. Whoever wants a free. When are they going to fall? When are they going to fall? To me, I feel like it's never since. They got a ton of claw. I don't like this. I don't like it, but it is what it is. They took the cross through the river of Athens and then capture the city and then keep going down until they reach right here and cut it up. Yeah, I feel like it wouldn't matter since they're going to probably take those lands anyways. Brazil returns and they build another fort. Fort of Knights 5. Now, the next one, Brazil again. And they started the Age of Conflict. Now, California is going to take a large land expansion. Seeing how the Mexicans are, they started paying them a visit. They were like, hey, you want to be part of my empire again? And they got PTSD from that. And then took some of those lands right here and is now taking back some of their islands right here, like Hawaii. And then they just stopped for now. Because then they were like, yo, why are you stopping? We got plenty of time. Someone said. And we was like, shh, I got a plan. Now, the Union of the Caribbean. They get a medium expand. They took advantage of this and managed to take down the rebels down south. And then managed to claim right here, but they're like, yo, Columbia. And then took it over. They're like, yo, you better not let him die or else we're going to go after you. And they were like, alright, we'll do it. Since they're like 8 times their size. So yeah, more Chico cannot do much right here. Well, the Union of the Caribbean can't do much against more Chico. So, let's do it. Alright, how are they alive? No, we're skipping. Next time we see them, we're getting wiped out. California. Large expand. Yeah. Now they're playing what's fully made. They started to advance down the coast. And they beat up with the red troops and then just take over this route right here. They managed to cross from here. And the screwed foes luckily managed to let go in time. And they start taking over some of those lands, starting the border right here. And then managed to get to these lands right here. But let me tell you something. California, Central California, hasn't been eerily quiet ever since their war that they managed to defeat. They're pretty much chill guys now, after a lot of division. So yeah. Now, they managed to fully successfully take out this central land right here, and then they just cross through this river again, and then take this enclave right here, and then there we go. This is now much of a board of California. Next up, European Union, and they're going to, of course, expand. Of course they will. They want to try and make more epics towards themselves, so they buy land from the Dutch, so-called buy, after war reputations from back then. So yeah, they took some of these lands right here, take the south of these lands right here, and then also took these rivers lands right here. Yeah, they're like, yeah, you need, this was for trying to get us into a war that we didn't want to. So yeah, they were kind of mad about the Dutch trying to get them into a war they shouldn't be getting into, but they understand themselves, and then took a little land back from the Serbs, taking advantage of a weekend Byzantine. So now we enter the Union of the Caribbean, and they decide, should we finish off the trash and upset them, or do we just take them down? And then they're like, we play it safe and take them down. So yeah, they decided to go through Guyana, and then managed to get to right here, rest of these lands, take a major city, and repeat. Now they've stretched back to Guyana. Yeah, if I'm not wrong, this was their territory once, just back then. Let's see in the comments. No comments. Alright. Now, we're heading back to the North Pole, where they get unionized. They're going to unite with themselves for now. They will propose a union with peach. In exchange, they're going to recognize this as the Mushroom Kingdom. Yeah, they announce a unit. Since this is too similar to the green, we're going to rename this. Say that the North Pole unite with the Mushroom Kingdom. So yeah, now Canada's more united now. So yeah, we're seeing the full renaissance of Canada. Right now, bit by bit, piece by piece. Piece by piece, bit by bit, piece by piece. So yeah, we are now seeing a renaissance in Canada. Because back then there were like 7, 8, 9 of those kingdoms. Now there's like 4. There's less countries in Canada now. And then starting to be more countries in someone like Argentina. More countries did play a role like here. Even in Mexico, there was, but now it's gone. Well, half gone. Of course, this Central America is technically part of Mexico, but not really. Random Traplandia is still there and managed. So yeah, there's the Byzantines and the Traplandians. There's this, which Beastland managed and finally getting back to the capital. So yeah, and although Canada did get beat a lot, they did successfully unite them. So yeah, now they can just rest. Now we head to Central Canada. Okay, we knew it was too quiet. We expected it coming, everyone. It ain't a big surprise here. So we need to see what happened. This Canadian state was secretly working for big. Well, it was secretly a totalitarian state. Up north, at least. The Canadians are very peaceful and wanted to be united back. The Alaskans were like, yeah, can we have independence though? And then, no, since you wanted to get me independence. So yeah, they decided to form this brown state right here. This like brown state will make it brown for Alaska. This was kind of a big turn of events, but not surprised, because Alaska is now occupying half. So I knew it was quiet for Alaska. They had to heard. It was like, yeah, let's make Canada sleep and then wake him up with a big sucker punch. Give him the Mike Tyson. But this sucker punch is the Mike Tyson special. So yeah, they're kind of, yeah, Alaska managed to expand right here. And this straight line is perfect, man. For American, of course. You guys might think, yeah, this looks disgusting, but to me, it's beauty now. Straight lines are beautiful. But now Canada looks more like Canada more, but they still got a coastline right here. And they couldn't really access this right here since California won't share their coast. But now they can. And speaking of California, they're going to adopt a religion, which I think is finally time to talk about California's new religion. It's going to be Indiaism. Why is it Indiaism? Since they're technically, yeah, because they were far from any other religion other than here, but there's also Latinism, but they don't know more Chico, so they'll be good. So now, there's also this one right here, but they do not want this as a spread religion. They're like, yo, if you want religion of mine, don't copy mine. Alright. And California is back again. And they get a small split. And of course, I think it will be time to show its signs. Alaska. We're going to call this the South California Alaskan Union, which is a Limish union, of course, right here. It's a formation right here that was formed after a bunch of people like, yeah, we want independence. This is what we're going to be doing. So yeah, this kind of set the South the Californias again. But let's hope it goes better. Central America, what's going to happen? Medium expand. Yeah, they're going to take advantage of this whole thing. Decide to invade all of all these sovereign lands that they claim is theirs. So yeah, they managed to reclaim some of Mexico and could claim themselves as the true Mexico, but there's no such thing as a true Mexico. Yeah, right, everyone? Now, Tanzania. They get a large expand. I think they're going to take advantage of Tanzania more and then start to incredibly expand right here. They took all of Madagascar now, which now probably means right here. They took more Somalia, of course, and are now, this is now South Africa now. Yeah, still pretty interesting that more of South Africa, South of Africa, is more populated. Well, more filled in than North. I thought it would be the other way around, but nope. Central Canada, what do? Small expand. They're going to take advantage of these rivers and start to infiltrate some of them here. So yeah, Central Canada, give them independence, but they just took some land, which feels unfair for them because they just got independence. But now, Alaska's back, and they're going to adopt a religion. But once again, I think they might stay with their own religion. They may not like this one right here, but they still are pretty chill. Now, we're back in Argentina, where we see small expand, where they just go ahead. Yeah, we managed to see the new gates in South America. They managed to go through here and dam some stuff right here. And it's starting to get more and more small each day. Yeah, now they are left with this major city left, and they knew this is far from when. So yeah, they lost the major city and are on the brink of leaving this war. So yeah, they are now the true Argentina. Socialism has won in Argentina. Now we get to Canada, where we see a small expand. They decided to take back some of these lands right here, connect more right here, take a few islands, take that island right here, and then just start to take back their whole lands. Take a whole island first. And now we see that they have now won. Now, Red and Crabland, they're going to form a new nation. Now, let's make some new lore. A new nation decided to form, which was kind of like a myth, which they finally got something to announce. They announced they're creating a new. Yeah, they're sending more settlers down. But they're like, yo, but where? And they are now working with the Californians to explore more of the African, well, the more Pacific coast. And what happened is they decided to explore more here. And then they discovered lands that they've never seen before. They discovered Japan. Yeah, this was a mix of people from both the Crablandia and California. This whole region right here is kind of new, and that managed to gain a whole lot right here. They got a foothold on the whole island, and it's probably the most accurate to the Japan border. They gain all these lands right here. They gain half of this island right here. Managed to explore up here, and then managed to take a few islands right here. Expand to Korea. So yeah, this empire is kind of looking big so far. So yeah, they managed to gain all this nation right here, and even take Taiwan too. So yeah, hopefully it doesn't remind you of anything right here. Yeah, they even take some of this land right here, which could be a reference to China. So yeah, we managed to explore the Pacific since. Now we got Japan. Now we got. So we not finally got Japan after a while. But now, because it was a formation between Crablandia, the Cravatines, and then California, even some of the Central Americans. But now let's head to the Byzantines. They get a small expansion, taking advantage of the situation in Egypt. They took over a few more colonies and expand right here. So, more of an answer. Now the Mexican Confederation. They are a lot. Well, let me just unclick them. Wavism. They decided before that they want to spread their religion back to Mexico. So now, Alaska has returned, and they started the Age of Division again. Now, Alaska gets a small split. Yeah, Alaska is starting to look chaotically. Yeah, it even starts here, too. So yeah, this is even more cooked than we ever seen. Yeah, we'll see a very familiar face right here. And this is the return of Karma. It's Karma Boy. It's Karma Boy. Yeah, it's not fully like Karma, but it still is Karma. So let's just fix the color a bit. Yeah, this is like karma now. We got karma back after a while. Even though they're the same people, different region, of course, and different nation, different type of government. Since the Commoners are like a United People's Republic, while this one is just trying to get its people back. So they want to try and retake Karma back from those Central Canadians. But they are both too united, so let's see how that goes. Now, entering Brazil. They get a medium expand. So yeah, Brazil was like, yo, no. Miku does not like Guianas. So yeah, we managed to got this one right here. And then, here we go. Right here in Alaska, they finally got a medium expand. They spread right here. They were like, yo, I'm the real Alaska. Let me in. So yeah, they started their conquest of South California. Now, next one. Connor's back, boy. They get small expansion. They start to spread into Newsburg. Took some Byzantine lands and kept going. Yeah, Fort Maple is their capital of Karma right now, which is trying to reunite with Central Canada. Now, what's happened? Let me see. There we go. OBS Studio reconnection. See what happened. I think we're good right now. So that was weird. Anyways, let's do this. Canada is back again. And they're not. They immediately fall to pieces. The Canadian Islands. Let's hope this does not return the Q back. The fall of Canada was so bad. And we think we're going to see the return of Canada being disunited once again. It's because I'm so afraid of what's going to happen to Canada. Because now there's whole Canadian island. That aren't even mainly the islands. They're just Canada Islands. So yeah, they're getting more and more destroyed by the days. Now, next up, the FNR. And of course, they got split. The FNR rebels. Yeah, this is after, the failures of their government and the demand that they get them out of power. Yeah, now that they're small as an ant now. Which they demanded better reputation and better statistics. But they're never going to get that. Since now there's a fort right here. And might have been caused by the Brazilian gun, or this one right here, or maybe even both. Both was probably spoiling this gun. So yeah, now this is a chaotic mess, with for all sides. The FNR rebels and the FNR. So yeah, this will become an important state. Now, a small split. Yeah, and I think it's the Argentine Islands. South Argentina. Let's get that out of the way. The South Argentines are going to get declared independent. Yeah, that was small. But the South Argentines declared themselves independent. Which could be taken advantage of, but it may not. Now for Central Canada. And of course this happens. It's going to happen, right? Like every time. Yeah, this now splits into right here. Now linking to right here. There's now a dark green called Graphage. Now is now going to become a new state right here. Now linking to right here, and then is announced it's going to take the territories of all this right here. And that's all they want, and nothing more, to be united back with Planktania. Since Planktania was technically the nation that had the most. It had, but now this is now becoming more and more independent. Now, this is now a new nation right here. And we saw the Central Canada Order, now we're seeing destroyed. And now the SROA gets a new leader, an Alfonso. Now, we went to Beastland, and they get a small split. Yeah, and let's make the story for this one. I think they're like, yeah, after much intensification, they're deciding to give New York back, since it has served its purpose. For all of the whole gym. They have served its purpose. Now it shall be used responsibly. So yeah, now New York is gone. It is done. Yeah, they were done with New York, so they just give it back. Now the FNR rebels. They split as well. They're like, yeah, we need a new reformation as well. And who supported these rebels? We'll see. They're called this iconic orange force. And they were called Guerrilla Alright, we're gonna call him the Guyana Forces. So yeah, this is just a whole lot of division. It came from right here, all of this right here, some of these right here. So yeah, there's going to be some big conflicts right here. Some in the city right here, some right here, some, and even stretching across the coastline right here. So yeah, this country is more cooked than anything else I've seen. Other than Argentina, of course. Yep. Now, let's head to right here. And they get a medium expand. Yeah, they took advantage of South. They took over all of this station right here. They took all of this right here. And even managed to finally reclaim their whole empire back. And even take some of these lands right here. And the only question is, are they two still friends? Even though one is a socialist. We'll call this People's Republic of Argentina. Now we got this nation. Next up, Puerto Chico. It was going small split. Let's just call this. Yeah, we were starting to see Argentina finally give in, and they're now going to be split into many states. Now we're going to see another one pop up. This is called the South Argentina. Well, the South Pole. We'll call this the South Pole. And it even has familiar color with the Falklands, but they are not the Falklands. Sorry to get your hopes. They are not the South. Yeah, in a way, they managed to take over all of Chile. The South Pole managed to get all of this. And it could be considered something else entirely. But we need to see and find out one day. Let me make the board more nicer. Yeah, so they are now starting to fall apart now. Yeah, they were once the biggest. I feel like the new biggest is right here. Yeah, some big countries are gone. Yeah, now they surpassed by Ludia. Or Chica was the biggest, but now that's gone. The Mexican Confederation. They get a small expand. They expanded all the way right here to the coast and managed to fight through the guerrilla warfare. So yeah, they kept going and going and managed to hop through right here. So yeah, now they're kind of back now in a way, but anyways, 9 more turns left. 9 more turns left. Union of the Caribbean. Yeah, and now this is probably going to destroy them more. We got another split happening. And this will be called the Venezuelan. Because after a while of losing to them, yeah, Venezuela was like, yeah, my turn, my turn. Caracas gets sieged immediately. They get sieged immediately. So now we got this whole thing happening right now. And then they just lose their islands. They lost their whole thing right here. Yeah, they're losing it right now. Because your capital is gone now. So what do you do? What do you do? Oh. Yeah, their leader is dead. And then they just head down south. Yeah, this is already chaos control. El Salva is now taking charge to a guy who is very similar to him, named. But oh no, oh no, oh no. Hopefully he does not get kidnapped like the last leader. Now, let's see who's next. The United Union. The Age of Unity. They started it now. Which now, we're soon going to exit the Age of Chaos and enter a new age. Guyana forces managed to unite with the FNR rebels and are starting to believe they should try to take them down. Next up, Gravitine. Yeah, this is happening now. Why did they break up? Well, there's a reason why. Since they've been ever since that one civil war happened. Yeah, Mexico just was like, yeah, we're done, man. We're done. So yeah, Mexico returns again in this series. But this time, it now comes from more south, well, more north of Mexico. It might not actually be a Mexico. This could be a different state. This could actually be like in Texas or something like that. But this could be called New Mexico. This could be called New Mexico. No way. But now, this is what happens. Yeah, think about it now. They got too similar of a color to it. So let's shift it to like this yellowish orange. Yeah, there's too many reds and orange lights here, so let's just make it like this purple and greenish, but let's make it like a brown for now. But this is Mexico right now. But this is Mexico, but under a different color. Let me just try to figure out what color we can use. Too similar to down here. It could work for now. It could work for now. All we just need is just get some land taken out. Now, we get head to New York, where they're going to be united. And this will be an interesting union. It's a union between Canada. Which one did they take? So did you immediately break off with Mr. Eastland and Ottawa? I was in some hot water, so after 208 years, bye-bye, Canada. And hello, New York. So yes, divided yet not divided. Beastland returns. And they get a medium expand. Yeah, they're like, yeah, we need to continue our conquest effort. They buy some land from right here, but they don't dare to take the Crested Crab. That is forbidden. If you take the Crested Crab, you're going to be most likely get an extra ticket to. Yeah, you're getting shot at immediately. Yeah, they took Miami and is now reaching more south. Yeah, now technically they now have retaken all of the Americas now. Next up, the Guyana forces. They're going to try to take back the whole country again. They connected to all of this place right here. They managed to take all of this right here. They take the whole fort back and is now almost trying to take out. They almost got them, but now there's like some loyalists right here. Yeah, and they're kind of bad, but it'll be fine. Yeah, there is even some troops right here too. So yeah. Next up, Egypt. They get a large expand. After a while, they finally locked in. They took over some of these lands back, took back Cyprus and Crete, took over this back, whole thing back here, and now it's time to live back up here. They managed to successfully get to Iraq right here. They also managed to regain lands in Iraq. It is now started to link up with Iraq. So yeah, there's Iraq now, and Egypt looks a lot bigger. And now for the final turn, we enter the Mushroom Kingdom, where they get a big expand. Once again, they made a deal with Bludia to give them some more land. And this time, now they're going to be getting more Northful lands. So yeah, they're here now. And this is now the new map of the world. Yeah, we see the Byzantines returned, and they immediately are like absolute Batman, but for Trablandia. Now our conclusion. We got the loss of this lands right here. We got these lands lost. But now it's time to make some cities and capitals. So if you're here, well, let's see. Yeah, that is too fast. Now let's make some major cities before we just leave or just play hightail or do something else. Because we are not going to accept this as acceptable. Yeah, for when I get to day 1000, I'm just going to make it 12,000. We're going to reach until 12,000. Yeah, I'll be like playing 2,000 turns in Dual Empires, or like 12,500 turns in Dual Empires. Then we're just going to head to 200 with it, 250, 500, and then that's it. There we go. We're either going to do something or something else. We see this is going to start to fall apart. And then once we get all the cities filled in, we're going to start the new age. But now, let's put each fort in right here. There's a major city right here. A major cities face off right here. Right here. There's going to be some major cities right here. There's gotta be some. Right, one right here. One right here. And we're starting to see Peru slowly lose land finally. And you know what? This is going to be chilly. This here, forget about South Pole. This is chilly. Yeah, Chile, welcome back. We always wanted you back. Let me just see what its color looks like. So yeah, now you want to see Crablandia back again. Well, Crablandia right here. Now, Crablandia right here. Because we got Crablandia back. Alright, so I think this is from right here. Yeah, this country, let me see where it is. Make something called, where is South Chile? Chile. There you are, Chile. There you are, Chile. Yeah, this was the golden country right here. Well, I don't think we're going to actually get fully right, but hopefully this is your... Yeah, it's similar to that. Let's just make it more down south. Yeah, this is going to be perfect. Central Chile. Chile, welcome back. We have always missed you. Now, next up, Central Chile is going to get a new city. Well, Central Chile. Yeah, its goals is right now try to retake back its old cap, which was right here, Santiago, and try to take down El Dorado to make sure they never rise ever again. But now we see many parts of the world. Yeah, and also Colombia also changed its ideology back to, well, like an imperial, like, let me explain the ideologies. There's not much ideologies in the world. We see ideologies starting to rise, kind of, with the likes of socialism right here, and republics too. So, in a way, there are some republics, like we see with, but the Platanian Republic was the first republic, and that failed because the Platanians are evil. Well, not evil, but since they're, let me tell you, there is no true evil. Let me tell you that. There is no such thing as good and evil. Yes, there's Mustache Man, Mongol Man, Red Sun in the Skies Man, other Mustache Man, and also Pot. Yeah. But other than that, yeah, well, yeah, there is their evil in our eyes. But so their eyes, their job was still doing what they need to do to save their country. So yeah, in a way, it's kind of necessary. But anyways, Crab of Trust will be the capital of the of the Crabatine Empire. Now, Crab of Crust. Now, we got this right here. Now, Mexico City. These guys claim this is their capital. But right now, they're just going to be a group formed. And its goal is to try to reconnect back to the Mexican border. Now we also see a lot. Well, we see this happening too. Which I think we got to talk about the age right now. This isn't going to be like Age of Chaos, where it's just a bunch of fighting, destruction, getting separated to many pieces. No, this will actually be something new. This is going to be something like a new age. Like this, but now we just talk about this. The capital is going to call Barrington, which they made it after conquered territories. And there's just a bunch of small villages too, so one right here and the other right here. So in a way, it is small. Next up, Karma is back, but I think they're going to make Fort Maple their capital. Meaning, let's get a few cities, or at least one major city, which is right here. Even though Canada looks more populated than our timeline, it's just the same. It's cold, and it's less of a wasteland now than here, kind of. There's still trees, there's still animals, but it's very cold and harsh and hard. Now, next step. They're going to try. Yeah, but let me tell you something. Flanktania did do anything in this series. They made a town, but that's it. And they don't have the chum bucket back. Oh yeah, there's two chum cities. Chum Town. Yeah, let's rename it to Chum Town. So yeah, now it's much better. Now, as for, there's a few capitals I missed. Yeah, we're not missing Japan. Yeah, there's Argentina link right here. Let me get Argentina's capital. It's Buenos Aires. Yeah, Buenos Aires right here. So let's get from the ruins of this major city. This is going to be called Aries. Yeah, it might be more Uruguay's, but I think I'll accept it like that. But since now there's no Uruguay right here, but now let's see some major cities right here. And spoiler, there is a good chunk of them. Yet so far, this city is doing success, as long as they don't have any rebellions, excusable or not, they're going to be kind of fine. They got a bunch of trade routes. They got friendly relations with their neighbors, even the ones that they rebelled from. They said they got friendly relations with them. So yeah, they're not like Argentina, where they just fall to pieces and now we're a whole state. No, they're not like that. But now we see Argentina start to become few. You got Brazil here. Yeah, absent. I feel like they're going to try and do something with this city, but we don't know. We won't change Madagascar Europe will change. We got a lot to talk about. First of all, we got Baghdad established right here. We got Constantinople, which we're going to call this right here Constantinople. This is what it's going to be called, Constantinople. Now, there are a few major cities right here, like right here. We got another one right here. And then some cities right here. And there we go. St. Petersburg right here. Another one right here. There's going to be a big city right here. And then another city right in Warsaw right here. Yeah, they managed to successfully made a lot of cities right here. Because they managed to do a good job with it. And establishing more of Europe right here. Even though it might have been a bit too much, but there's now going to be a lot to talk about. Oh yeah, and also Serbia. They kept Rome now as, and also we need to talk about Rome. Rome is gone as a nation for now. But the Europeans managed to successfully create a whole state. They use the capital as power, like a state, making laws however they like across this realm. Let me try and make a screenshot and show you what I mean by that. But I will try and make a screenshot right here to tell you what it means. But let me just see. Now there's the whole place right here, whole Rome. Now what about Carthage right here? So yeah, each capital refers their power, and then there's the Dutch right here, which formed after so many things that they gone for Christianism, like the old religion. Yeah, Cleoism right here, then no religion right here. They're the origin of the Dutch Commonwealth, so yeah, they don't have a religion. Even though they were pretty much friendly with the Dutch. So yeah, now, oh yeah, and also Japan. Japan has been pretty successful in spreading here. Tokyo is obviously their capital. And then a few major cities right here. Like, right here is a major city. Right here is a major city. Right here is a major city. And then right along the coast of here is a major city. Right here is a major city. And right here is a major city. So yeah, they managed to successfully become a powerhouse in Asia now. And this is what Europe looks like now. Now I'll prepare the thumbnails and PowerPoints before we get to it. Now let me tell you, number one, the most powerful nation right now is going to be right now. It will be the European Union. Well, the Europa Union. Not the European Union. They're the Europa Union. they managed to successfully become an empire across the food, all of Carthage to the British Isles. They managed to get friendly relations between this one and now make sure that they stay down. Yeah. Europe is more keen on war. They're more keen on everything else, but other than that, they are now a nation that managed to cross through everything, no matter the situation. They managed to do whatever they can. The Nordics managed to spend with huge. Alright, number one is obviously Europe. Number two is still Peru. They might have lost a few two cities, but they're still kind of strong. The money they got is still pretty good. They managed to get a good economy going in the Pacific, like California, Mexico. Even this one now borders the Pacific now. So the Pacific is kind of now like rich in a way, while this one is kind of filled with war right now. And also, the Central Americans have to deal with the Mexican Federation. They also now have to deal. Yeah, the United Union is now back to the Caribbean, which they're the Caribbean, but in all reality, this is just the United Union, which was the Americans in our time. But yeah, look at them now. A shell of their former selves. Although they do still have South Florida, they're kind of now falling off. Yeah. After a big conquest by Jimmy, which made them force on their island the first time, now made them bigger and better, and managed to get New York, the successor to them, to be their friends. Now, they're now on the big scene. Now, after a while, let's talk about them. We still got some capital cities to build. Right here, well, it's going to be called Ikla. Now, this is a major city right here, and now it just pretty much is that. But let me tell you, there's major cities right here. Yeah, this is a cage country, just under a different way. They call themselves Raft City. So yeah, they're kind of big now. And Central Canada just lost battle and lost about more than half of their land to a bunch of people. But on the other hand, the Mushroom Kingdom is starting to grow more and more. And now they're starting to get bigger than Bludia, but just as big as Bludia. There's also Norway, which is now also pretty big. But now we got something to talk about. Like, what is the next age? First of all, we're going to start seeing more large expanse start to happen. Like 12, of course. We're also going to see less small expanse. Like they're going, well, there's going to be more less small expanse right here. And also, big splits are now going to be divided in half. They're gone now. The chances of a new nation are also kind of rare. But wait. And also, diverged religions is now going to be more common now. We're starting to go into the diverged religions. And adopted religions is also going to be very common too. Forts are also going to be way less happening. Some leaders are going to happen now. Unity is also kind of getting more traction too. As conflict gets sliced in half as well. And diversion is also much as common right here. But the ageling is now going to be like 20 now. Fort ranges, fort strengths stay the same. Age intensity is going to be much intenser. Yeah, their large expanse, but unions are also going to happen more frequently now, as new nations are also kind of going to be a little more common. Yeah, just like that. Baron names. And then it's the start called the Age of Rediscovery. This is going to be a new age. After many collapses, many chaoses, the Age of Collapse, the Age of Chaos has ended. And this is called the Age of Rediscovery. See y'all. We will save this game to year 500. And now we reach over here. We got the Age of Chaos has finally ended, and now we're in the age. Yeah, let me repeat this back. We are in the Age of Rediscovery. This is now. Now here's a few ages. Let me explain. The first age was the Age of Crabs, which was mostly the Red Nation managed to conquer a lot of Americas and got this there. The Age of New Discovery, the Age of Expansion, we'll call it, came down to South America, Europe. I think that was for till 300s. And then the Age of the Q War happened, which was also between the two. Between the Age of Chaos and the Age of... Alright, let me tell you what happened. Alright, we're going to get Google Docs. Yeah, this is what's going to happen. Here's what each age explains. The first one was called Age of Crabs, or Age of the Crust. Which one you like better is up to you, but Age of Crabs starts off right here. Yeah, it'll start off right here in the Age of Crabs. As we just put this right here. And this will be the start of Age of Crabs. Turn, let me see. Use. Turn 0 to turn to turn, let me see which one. Since right here is called turn 1 to turn 8. Turn 0 to turn 8 is called Age of Crab. Age of Crabs. Now, the next age is called the Age, I think, the Age of Stone, or we'll call it simply Age of Rocks, since we managed to get some more things done here. They managed to get farm done, they managed to do a lot. And then we see some weapons. Starting in Mexico, this will be called, yeah, it was from turn 9 to turn 30. That was the second age. The third age is the age of iron. Alright, the age of iron. This was not between turn 30 and also managed to become the decent power, the crown. So yeah, this was a union between both the ah, this was a nation between the Ludia and also turn 30 is also turn 30 to release turn 57 after the collapse of the American Union. Now, the next stage is probably the age of I feel we'll call this the age of the South. There's probably going to be two ages now. Age of I think this will be called Age of Americana South, and an Age of American Chaos. Now, this is what it looks like. Between turn 57 to turn turn and find them. 1,000. Yeah, this is the Age of South Age of Establishment. This will be called the Age of Establishment. In South America. Now, there is going to be turn 57 to turn 99 after discovering Peru, which would start a new age that unites the world. Which, in total, we got 5 ages. Like, turn 57 to, like, turn after the American Union split, things became chaos and beyond. We see Beastland return. See, I feel what looks to be Florida, but now it's just brighter, darker pink. Mexico returns. So yeah, Mexico was a beast in this episode back then. I feel like it saved its enemy to take down by not doing much, and then just completely take it down with ease. Well, didn't take it down, but it more like tried to just take the thing down at least. So yeah. So now, Age of Establishment. Now, turn 57 to turn 99. And then, in turn 94, this new age now will start. And then this is called the Age of Restructuring. In at least America, of course. They managed to reform itself right here. Age of Restructuring. In South America. And then the Age of American Chaos was in a turn 94. 500. We got the return of California. Now we already got a new state for it. Alright guys, welcome back to this. Some of these islands right here. And kind of discovering what Greenland looks like more. So I think this one snap. Like right now. We got purple religion right here, green one, blue one, pink one. For think the next. I think we're going to start. They're going And then in the turn 94, we're going to say turn 100. And then just unite turn 94 to turn, we'll say turn 90, turn 100. And then they both unite into one age called Age of we're going to call this Age of uh, Age of Sun. We'll call this the Age of Silence and Ice. We're going to call this the Age of Ice, since ice and ice and the Age of this will be their uh, Age of Imperialism. Since now there's starting to be more imperial leaders here, so now that Mexico is more established. For now, this is going to be called Canada. It's going to split away from Canada lost a lot. It's even going to take some of these territories, those enclaves, for back. Still here, luckily. Age of Imperialism turn 100 to turn. And then we managed to see it's going to take from the ocean right here, the lake. Now we see they managed to form new nations right here. So Age of Imperialism was asleep. Was asleep. It was quiet. Except it's not the. I think there's some rebellions that are supported by them. It looks too similar to right here, so let's change it. Yeah, that's too similar. And I say and now it's too similar to right here. Let's do this. Too similar. Let's just do it like this. Like now. This age will end during a moment in history. And I say it ends during the I think it ends during the age where they just decide, you know what? Yeah, this is what we're good. Now, this is all that is left. Now, the next age, I think, is the age of outdoors. We're going to see more of the age of outdoors until, like, which is called that because they're now being more of a. There's silence on about the Chrislandia and of what they're planning, and then it was discovered to be this right here. They're taking this field now finally for the last one, and it's Crablandia, exactly what we needed. Oh yeah, Mr. Krabs. Let me play the clip. Let me play the clip. Alright.
Oh yeah, Mr. Krabs.
Yeah, I remember that. Alright. But anyways, this is all. I say we just stop this from here right now. If I miss anything, yeah, I might just. But now, each age, I think, will stop. Now, this one is called the age of gold. Well, not the age of gold, more like the age of silver 6. There's been now a lot of fish that were discovered, like horse riding, like making animals, but they managed to domesticate bears too in this time too. So yeah, no big surprise here. They also discovered. They also managed to successfully get some animals done right here, like pigs, sheep, cows. They're not there though, sadly not. But they still managed to get good farms thanks to the crab. They did found some animals like they could use as successful. They managed to domesticate mammoths too. So yeah, they don't kill them. Some managed to successfully get some alive and just use them as animals to domesticate, more like sheep. So yeah, their wolves are kind of more careful if they see them, but other than that, they just do what they need to do for war. And then we see the start of this person right here. Yeah, and part 2 right here. And I think this will end an age. And we'll start. The age of silver was between this and also between the Q War. See what happened. 200 to 242. They're trying to help the Q Empire. They're true. icebergs. 240. And then it'll start the Q War, which united most of the continent under one. With Beastland, we see the Floridans kind of get involved, but they don't do anything. They just lose land without knowing. Because they just only care about colonizing Africa. Since, let me tell you something. Why. You might wonder, why do they care about Africa more than their own continent? It's because they just want to get out of this place, since they know they're going to lose instantly. So they decided, why not we just leave this place instead and form our own nation instead? And the only thing is to stopping them would be just themselves. Because who would know Africa and who would care about Africa other than themselves? So they just left. And then it managed to go. The Q War lasted between the 40s until the 90s. What they just get. They 290 now is now, and now it ends in 293 after a while, with the Q War finally ended. Which I think this is probably my favorite episode, which not only got very popular, but I think this is my favorite actually. You know what? Yeah, this deserves a like. Yeah, this is my favorite one so far. Out of all this series so far, episode 300 is my favorite, right? Because the war was so done better. Well, although we did have distractions, like this one right here, and also a failed attempt at the start, which go disastrously wrong. We did manage to successfully get this whole thing done. And also, it also began a new age called the Age of Chaos, which lasted a lot long. This might have been their longest age ever. Well, this we call 29, not yet a Age of Chaos, but it happened due to the Q just exploring a bunch of ships before they fall to the face of the Earth. Well, the age of rebuilding. The second age of reconstruction. The second age of restructuring. And then we're now headed to the Age of Chaos, which now going to start the new trilogy, which lasted until a good chunk of 200 years, which as a result made the Byzantines return, made them die, and made them return again, just to get destroyed again. Well, not nearly gotten beaten again. And now we're on a new age called the Age of Rediscovery, which is now 500s to, let's see how could be. So yeah, we went over 13 ages of so far. There's the Age of Crabs, Age of Rocks, Age of Iron, Age of American Chaos, Age of Establishment for the South Americans, and Age of Restructure for the NA. But we'll unite as one called the Establishment of Restructure. So yeah. It was also kind of connected to them. Age of Chaos for North America and Age of Restructure for them. But then it united to Age of Imperialism. With stuff like the Morachicans, the crabs, and also in a way, the Q, the Europeans, the Egyptians, the Floridans. So yeah, there was a lot of reason why I named it the Age of Imperialism. Age of Outdoors, where we discover more until the finale of, well, Crabland, you're just taking over a lot of stuff. And then during that part, we discovered the Q War, which managed to cause the Age of Chaos in a way. Which so when does the Q just blow up their ships? And I'm going to say 299, late 299 to early 300 is where the Q destroyed a bunch of their ships and then just left. But now, I think I'll stop it from here. Now, I hope you guys have a great day.